Hey YouTube family, what's going on? Welcome to an episode of you and me checking out gear in my basement. Let me show you what we got. On the bench today we have a Fender, Squire, Strat. These are made in Indonesia. It's like a 3/4 size. It's kind of a smaller body. And these have a hardtail bridge as opposed to a trem. This belongs to some friends of ours, their son. He's been having some issues with it. There's a short, and I just pulled this jack out, and man, someone was in there and did a terrible wiring job. So anyway, I'm going to clean that up and resolder everything, see if I can't make it work. And there's something up with these pots. The volume pot feels pretty good. The tone pot feels very spongy. So see how it moves around like that? So there's probably definitely something, I don't know, maybe it's, see if I can pop this off. Oh, got it. So, oh yeah, so like the pot is like falling into the cavity almost. There's almost no threads left on this nut here. So I'm going to take the strings off, clean the guitar up a bit. The frets are all kind of gray, kind of greenish. They haven't been polished in a long time. And check out all the solder connections under here. See what kind of electronics there is in there. And we'll go from there. Just a quick look. Everything seems kind of lined up string-wise. But when you get down here, see, this looks good. When you get down here, these strings start to wander off this way near the bottom. And I think it's because, I don't know if you can tell, but this bridge plate is off center a bit. This bridge plate needs to be back a little bit this way, like down. You can tell, like, I'm assuming this pickguard's straight just because it's lined up all over the place at the neck and the body, and it seems very well lined up. But right here, you can see it's closer here. This bridge plate is closer up here than it is there. So if this was pulled back a bit, I think that pulling it back would bring that string into better alignment. But you know what? It's pretty good, and I'm not going to start, filling holes and re-drilling. He just wants, the guitar to work. So I'm going to clean it up. I'll polish it. It's got a lot of scratches on it. And do some fret work and then bring it back to them. I might even change these string trees. I hate these butterfly string trees. But if the guitar is not binding up or whatever, I'll just leave it. But first, we're going to try to get it to work, fix the electronics, and go from there. Just took the strings off. In case you're wondering, this is a top load bridge. You have to load it from the bottom. And these are kind of annoying because you have to load it from the bottom, then the string has to go underneath the saddle and then up through the middle of it, then over the saddle where the groove is. So it's a little, I guess you can kind of flip the saddle up like this so you can get your string underneath. But it's going to take a little bit of, getting used to get those strings through. So for like, a kid who's a new guitar player, has never worked on a guitar, this is not Fender's best attempt to make, string changes easy for, a beginner, someone who's got no experience on working on instruments or whatever. But, personally, if this was my guitar, I would change the bridge into something that I could, that would have string through body holes, and I would drill through. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to keep trucking. Oh, and just took the strings off, and all these, check out these tuners, like they're all loose. Like all these nuts are loose, and the locking screw at the back, I think that's what they have. Yeah, they're all loose. So I got to snug all those up and make sure that everything is tickety-boo for my little buddy here. Anyway, all right. Getting ready to pull this pickguard off. Took all the screws out and noticed that the switch is all bent. So I'll see if I can install a new switch for him, or maybe at least straighten this one out. It seems to be working okay, and it holds its position really well in every notch. So we might leave it and just try to straighten this tab, just with some pliers, give it a little bend. All right, so not terrible under there. So these are just ceramic pickups, as you can tell. 2 bar magnets on each side. And I don't know if you can see these numbers, but I'll try and get you I don't know what that means, but it's an awful lot of numbers on a pickup. Anyway, so yep, so just the stock Fender pickups, and not a bad wiring job. Cheap components, as one would expect. I don't know if this thing was modded before. There's solder on all these pins, but there's no wires there. So yeah, I don't know. Just got to make sure that this loose pot here is not unsoldered. You can't really see here with the camera, but everything looks okay. I'll just double check that closely and I'll tune back in. All right, resoldered the jack pins and just plug this thing in. I'm going to turn the amp on. See if we get any sound coming from this. Oh, there we go. Middle. Everything works. No weird noises. All right, we're good. This is all tightened up. There was nothing wrong underneath. This one was loose too. Tighten that one up. And that's all ready to be reinstalled. So let's get her done. So on these types of guitars, they have a little route at the back, and these jacks, because they're so elongated, they just slide right in there. And you'll see there's a nut, you know, through the wires, and that just kind of threads on to the jack shaft and hold it in place right here. So there's nothing to do here. It just kind of pushes in and that's it. So you got to make sure that nut is tight, or this is going to all be loose, which was the case before. So yeah, so that fits good. I cut some of this wire down because there was a whole coil and spool of wire in there. So maybe that's why these eventually got all frayed. But somebody was in there because there was an abnormal amount of solder on these pins. But it's all fixed now. So all right, we're going to tidy that up, polish the fretboard, condition the neck, and restring, and give it a little sound check. I was just rubbing oil on the back of this neck, and I was just noticing the tuners, how crooked they are. And I'm like, you know what? I understand this is Squire, and it's like Fender's cheap brand. And, you know, yes, it's made in Indonesia. But so are a lot of the other budget guitars I buy. And the tuners on those budget guitars are straight. Fender, you know, there's no way that they don't have a straight edge in their shop that they could just simply, you know, before they drill the holes, you know, to lock these tuners in, they could just check. So check this out. So the first two, right, are straight, and then look at that. That one's way tilted. The third one's not bad. The fourth one's crooked. The sixth one is crooked. You know, the fifth one's crooked. Come on. They can do better than that. Now, I could fix that, but that would mean I'd have to pull all these screws out, fill these holes, because now these would have to be up more, and you'd probably see that, and then re-drill and reposition. And, you know, it's not my guitar, so I'm not going to start drilling holes in the headstock, but just stuff like that that just ticks me off when it's a brand name, right? And people seem to think that it's okay. Oh, you know, but if this was done on a cheap Chinese guitar, they would point that out, right? They would point out, oh, look how crooked these tuners are. But on Fenders, you know, that's a problem that happens all the time. And you don't hear that because of the F word. Anyway, it'll still keep the guitar in tune. It just, cosmetically, there's no reason for that. Because it's a simple fix. All you need is a straight edge, right? Before you install your tuners. Make sure they're straight, mark your holes, put the screws in, and then lock them in from the front. Anyway, just frustrates me to no end. Now we have to do something with these green frets before conditioning that fretboard. Just got to use some ultra-fine steel wool, you know, to polish these frets up. But before, we got to tape up these pickups, because this steel wool, you know, every time you do a pass, it comes apart and it goes everywhere. So covering the switch and the pickups, just in case. Don't want to create extra work. Just did the first 3 frets and look at the difference. Woohoo! Pretty shiny. Right? Compared to these. These are grayish green and these are nice and silver. Gotta keep going. Takes a little while, but frets are all done. Nicely polished. So now I gotta clean up the fretboard and condition it. And we'll restring. Yeah, so this is why you tape up the pickups. All that, you know, that black spot over the magnets, that's all like filings from the steel wool, right? It goes everywhere. See all this stuff? So yeah, definitely tape up those pickups when you're doing that. All right, let's move on. Little F1 oil. Just drizzle it down the fretboard. Buff that in. Let it absorb. Wipe off the residue. We're good to go. Okay, so just starting to restring. And the easiest way to do it, for me anyway, is take your string, kink the first, inch of the top of the string. Give it like a, I don't know, like a 60, where am I here? Like a 60-degree bend, right? So that when you slide it through the hole here, you can get that bend to come up inside the saddle so that you can actually grab it from the middle of the saddle like so, right? And then you can kind of pull it through. Otherwise, man, it's kind of a pain to have to try and get in there and poke your finger from underneath and try to get it up, through the middle of the saddle. So that way it's really, really simple. All right, we are restrung. Now we got to check the relief in the neck, check the action and the intonation, and then we'll plug her in and see if everything works properly. All right, so the little Strat is all done. These tuners are 18:1 gear ratio. They're not bad, they're just crooked. String trees are fine. I lubricated them underneath, so they'll be fine. The nut I just filed, not to deepen it, just to open it up a bit. And then I lubricated the nut. The frets I polished, as you saw me do, and lubricated the fretboard. Gave the body, the paint, a little polish as well. Cleaned up the bridge, tightened up those pots, straightened the switch, and obviously fixed that poorly soldered input jack. And we'll see how it works. The intonation was way off. It's dialed in now. It's pretty good. And the action was quite a bit higher than it is now, but I can't get it down too much further because of string buzz. There's quite a few unlevel frets on this, and I don't want to get into a full fret level and all that stuff because it's not my guitar. So anyway, here's the bridge pickup. It's dead quiet. I'm going through my pedal board and there's no noise. And I'm facing the amplifier. The amplifier's right behind the cell phone there, so it's good. Like there's not any noise whatsoever. All right, so here's clean. Second position. Get that Fender quack. Middle position. Fourth position. Gets thicker, so you know it's good. And neck. A little bit of drive and the bridge pickup. Not bad. High gain. Well, I hope you liked it. It plays pretty good. It's not bad at all. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking in. Oh, in case you're wondering, these have a 24-inch scale. Well, as far as I know, now that the intonation's dialed in, I measured from the nut to the top of the saddle of the little E string, and it's exactly 24 inches. So I'm guessing it's about a 24-inch scale guitar. It's 3/4 size. It's really comfortable to play. Satin neck on the back. So it's good. It's just, you know, Fender takes some shortcuts for these budget guitars, and they're probably thinking, you know, it's for kids, but because it's for kids, they shouldn't take shortcuts. Like, it should be done well, right? So it's easy to play, easy to set up, and and kids would kind of be motivated to grab this guitar and keep playing it and keep playing it. It's not shorting out. It's not hard to feed a string through, you know. It's, anyway. It's just little things that they could improve, and it wouldn't affect the price at all. It's just a matter of, you know, thinking a little bit outside the box and a little bit more quality control. But anyway, you guys take care. This is a cool little guitar. I hope he likes it. God bless, and be safe.